Hello, gamers. Maxor here. Welcome back to the Goon Cave. No! The Pentagon confirmed an alien mothership residing in our solar system. Mr. Beast injected 1,000 blind children with the Titan serum. Osama is a neo-Nazi, and you've just been filled in. Spring is underway, and so times are urgent. There are way too many games to review. In this new series, I review multiple games in smaller intervals. Today, we're looking at 9 of the indiest puzzle platformers you've ever laid your grippers on. But, not Pizza Tower. With the hopes of answering one of the oldest questions of all time. What is the shape of Italy? A fucking boot. Like my family tree when I inevitably marry Shanola Hampton, Limbo is entirely in black and white, lending to its raw, emotional story about a small boy who sails across the River Styx in an attempt to rescue his sister from the afterlife. Yo, who left the student film project filter on? Once you pass the forest, you'll immediately notice how desolate this world is. Only occasionally passing hanging carcasses, giant spiders, man-sized ravens, Olympic spearmen, shadow guinea pigs, and glowing brain worms.
But I thought that you guys hated me for being stupid in the head.
Come on, don't be silly. That's just a worm in your brain.
Huh?
At the start, the music is diluted by the echoes of nature, but as you progress towards the game's central factory, it grows more synthetic and spiritual, almost lulling the player as they dodge its sensory turrets and an ungodly amount of saw blades.
Bitch! Shit! No! Damn it! Fucking God! Ah, stupid!
While its symbolic ending can feel anticlimactic and underwhelming, the beauty of this experience is found in the protagonist's perseverance and the unsettling atmosphere that enhances the player's interpretation of it. Even if the obnoxious amount of trial and error makes you question if it's even worth making it that far. In many ways, Inside feels like an expansion to its predecessor, doubling down on the gloomy visuals and allegorical narrative to play out less like a video game and more like an interactive movie. In your adventure, you'll outrun dogs, pigs, supreme machines, sirens, shockwaves, and malicious beams of light as you navigate through mechanical cities and dilapidated factories to a subhuman industrial soundscape on a quest to make your way inside, only to realize that things were actually much better on the outside all along.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.
One of this game's central mechanics are these mind control helmets that allow you to solve puzzles with the help of the brain-dead husks that occupy this world.
Mr. Breast. Drag my Predator. Saul Guzman.
Which when paired with the game's chilling music, reinforce its underlying themes of isolation and conformism. Some people believe this to be a story of fertilization, with the boy portraying a sperm cell and the blob representing an unfertilized embryo, while others see the boy as a red blood cell who eventually sheds his coat to become a white blood cell before removing the body's tumor so it can die outside of its host. But my favorite theory is that Inside is actually a musical comedy about a tall, lanky motherfucker trapped in his house during the coronavirus pandemic.
And is it just me, or do pirates need to take a little bit better care of their fucking maps?
Playdead isn't just a trick I pull when my girlfriend asks me to buy her a new purse. It's also the name of the independent Danish studio that created some of the most haunting puzzle platformers to ever grace my mental illness. But since the release of these games, the company's co-founders had a falling out due to contract disputes, leading the executive producer to form a new company called Jumpship and release a new game, which in spite of its promising teasers, didn't live up to the hype due to performance issues and a failure to introduce anything exciting to the franchise formula. My career goals and aspirations have waxed and waned throughout my life like a professional wrestler's chest hair. But if there's one thing I've always wanted to become, it's an undead princess from Austria, the land of political scandals and, kangaroos, I think? Children of Light is a turn-based side-scroller in which you play as the daughter of a duke who must return home after waking up in a magical realm called Lemuria, which is home to a colorful array of goofy goobers, including Rubella and Tristis, a pair of jester siblings who wish to join the traveling circus, Finn, a teenage dwarf with a mint affinity who suffers from panic attacks, and Robert, an entrepreneurial rodent with the Renaissance drip who seeks to prove his love to the village thotty.
1, 2, buckle my shoes.
As well as an orc tsundere and, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
It's about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry, we devour.
Along with a plethora of monsters, including horned spiders, porcupine wolves, cave gargoyles, and flying leaf bugs. Originally, the developers wanted the protagonist to start the game at the age of 5 and then gradually reach the age of 20 by the end of her journey. But if that was the case, Drake would be all over the shit like it was Millie Bobby Brown. Hey, you guys want me to tell you a little secret? Watch this. The first thing you'll notice about this game, besides the gorgeous hand-drawn watercolor art style, is the fact that nearly all of the game's dialogue rhymes.
My crew is big and it keeps getting bigger. That's 'cause Jesus Christ is my nigga.
This Shakespearean poeticism sounds great on paper, but instead tends to muddle the plot with cringeworthy anecdotes that feel less like a fairy tale and more like a Genius-verified interview.
So what if I'm the monster?
Which is hindered further by a leveling system that requires so much grinding, you might as well be a straight woman in a gay bar. The first half of the game can be painfully easy, but that's quickly remedied by disabling the tutorials and cranking up the difficulty so you don't die of a boredom-induced yeast infection, which can make some bosses a real pain in the prostate, like Nox, the tentacle erotica sea serpent, or Umbra, the glamorous raven wyvern, or even Cordelia, My favorite has to be the giant spider because he vaguely reminds me of Danny DeVito.
Oh my God. I get it.
Just like in the real world, the variety of gemstones you find can be combined to upgrade different stats across your weapon, armor, and accessory slots. But if you've memorized the zodiac sign of your favorite anime characters like a freak bitch Redditor, you'll grasp this hippie doodah mechanic fairly easily. Why don't you reality shift to some bitches?
I think you just won the internet, my friend. My good sir.
Where this game excels, however, is its intuitive active time battle system, which forces you to calculate your moves, interrupt your opponents, and peruse their elemental weaknesses like a fucking nerd. An exciting twist to the genre's formulaic combat that is contrasted by transcendent score and otherworldly somber tone, which invokes the bittersweet nostalgia of a turbulent childhood.
And I'll be waiting for the light that guides us through the worst of nights. And I'll be waiting for a sign you're coming back and you have found your path.
Though creative director Patrick Plord has expressed doubt of a sequel due to Ubisoft's tyrannical quest against the creative mind, he has been working on a book series set in this game's universe with illustrator Serge Marinera, the first of which being Reginald the Great, a free 19-page downloadable story which chronicles the adventures of Robert and Margaret's rebellious son.
Oh my God. Ratatouille!
These days, Ubisoft Montreal is known for its endless string of mediocre releases. But do you know what they released the year after Child of Light? Only the greatest tactical first-person shooter ever fucking made! Ori and the Blind Children from the orphanage I burned down is a very beautiful game. One might even call it the Saoirse Ronan of Metroidvanias. In it, you play as a guardian spirit who's adopted by Baymax's sloth cousin, who with the help of their magical fairy companion, must restore the 3 elements of Nibel before a mysterious imbalance causes the forest and its wildlife to wither away. Just like the Earth's marine life withers away every time North Korea tests a new missile on the fucking ocean. Despite being the most vibrant game in this video, it is also the most emotionally complex, by focusing on mature themes like how a parent's nurture can be weaponized under the threat of extinction. The game's bestiary is quaint but suitable, incorporating porcupine plum slimes, acid-tongued toads, and emerald-eyed piranhas to complement this world's glowing valleys of fungi, subterranean rivers, and magical mechanisms. But where it really shines is its ability tree, which lends the game an immense amount of replayability through a variety of combat and movement enhancements. By the time you unlock the triple jump and the rapid flame, you'll be going bloody akimbo in this bitch like a Russian soldier in the... Ori and the Will of the Smith raises the stakes this time around by replacing its predecessor's tense escape sequences with epic-ass boss battles against the likes of a rhinoceros beetle that can breathe fire, a flying wizard toad possessed by a tentacle demon, and a sentient magical gemstone surrounded by a defensive stone shell that can shoot laser beams at you.
Dr. Octagonopus!
It's also enriched with a variety of fun side quests and quirky characters to meet. Like TikTok, a pessimistic exposition toucan, Ofer, the albino-looking lion monkey sensei, and Lupo, the, Cornifer. My favorite has to be the traveling merchant Twillin, as his attire and personality are giving the legend of Miyazaki.
Your reign of terror ends here, Catbus!
The game's racist, sexist, neo-Nazi developers claim that their goal with this project was to replicate the growth and improvement between the original Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. 3, and unfortunately, they succeeded. By making combat more complex and interactive with the funky fresh parry maneuver, by greatly improving the visual detail on the new landscapes and embracing a wider range of color, and by focusing on an even deeper story about the bond between Ori and Ku.
Oh, hell nah. What's up, dog?
The sole surviving child of his former enemy, who are swept away by a vicious storm into the neighboring country of Naiwen and must find the source of its unclean water. As myth seekers, we're drawn to the aesthetic of a trilogy's 3-act structure, but milking this franchise further would only ruin the impact of its emotional ending. Instead, Boon Studios is working on an action RPG set to be published by the same kings who dropped Kerbal Space Program, The Outer Worlds, and Hades. Hades' nuts don't fit in your mouth. Let's just hope their knack for gut-wrenching morally layered writing translates to a more violent and explosive environment. Like Dragon Age or Titanfall, Unravel is one of the rare EA games that views the player as something other than a consumer. In it, you play as Cornelius Dingleberry, a sentient wad of twine with a crescent moon-shaped dome who can teleport to the settings within picture frames to uncover the memories of their creator. Kinda like my man Gangster Mario.
Hey, what's going on here? Luigi, let's get out of here!
In spite of the game's generic inoffensive platforming and undemanding puzzles, its photorealistic environments emphasize the beauty in the ordinary by throwing you into a proverbial mouse world, thus reminding you that you're a puny little bitch who's completely insignificant in the grand scheme of the universe. But actually, this is a game about how we unravel as we travel farther away from the things we hold dearly, a theme which the game's wobbly controls can sometimes undermine. And though you'd have to pay me to revisit the mediocre gameplay for the soundtrack, baby, I'll do that shit for free. It's not the most exhilarating game on the market, but it's a great way to ease into the blossoming whimsy of the solar equinox. Unravel 2, however, introduces 2 new protagonists, a pair of siblings-turned-lovers, Quantavius and Lashandra, who meet when the former washes ashore next to a magical lighthouse during a failed seafaring journey. It is here where Ladarius and Shaniqua will use the building's various portals to visit different points in time and unravel its story about a pair of boys who must escape their abusive foster parents by, sneaking into a hazardous factory and starting a forest fire. I have 2 sides, orphan and arsonist. As you follow them past the abandoned watermill, you'll notice that the majority of the game's enemies are real-world animals, like a capercaillie or a northern pike. The only problem is that the former is native to Eastern Europe, and the latter is found in North America. Are they stupid? The only animal you'll find in Sweden is Guys, if I finish this joke, I lose everything. Like its predecessor and my ex-girlfriend, it can suffer from dry spouts. I can't help but feel like this franchise would be more accessible if it pirated the Assassin's Creed formula by setting each game in a different country and focusing its story and aesthetic on that nation's culture.
Sucky, sucky, fucky, fucky, wonton. Go back to Hong Kong.
Unravel 3 helps Sackboy resolve the drug war of the Philippines while surviving peacocks, whale sharks, and dwarf buffalo. Unravel 4 join Prince Fluff as he ventures into the jungles of Morocco while avoiding hungry hyenas, stinky skinks, and sweaty shrews on his quest to fend off the invading Western Sahara. Unravel 5 Tennessee. I fucking love cocaine. The developers can clearly simulate a glimmery countryside backdrop that makes you feel as snug as a bug in a rug, so why not give us a habitat I actually give a fuck about? Coldwood Interactive's director, Martin Shaolin, not to be confused with Shaolin Kung Fu, stated in an interview that he believed games could help teach people to be kinder, indicating that this project was his first major attempt at doing so.
In a world of pure imagination.
But 5 years removed from the sequel and the studio deciding to shift focus to other stories, it seems that the only thing that's unraveled is my fucking patience. The dark fantasy genre has always been a major influence in my creative work. Films like Coraline, Beetlejuice, Pan's Labyrinth, Monster House, and White Chick starring Shawn and Marlon Wayans.
Are you telling me that you are not...
Yeah, I'm not a woman.
White?
Occupy a space within the dark corners of my mind, the same way the royal family of Saudi Arabia occupies a stake within every major American company. Developed by Swedish subsidiary Tarsier Studios, Little Nightmares is no different. In this surreal horror puzzle platformer, you play as Six, a little girl in a yellow raincoat who suffers from depersonalization and severe bulimia, and must escape a massive fucking iron boat before the gluttonous monsters inhabiting it turn you into creme de la couche. Unlike the previous games on this list, this one's a bit tense, a bit perturbing, a bit gives me panic attacks, without even relying on jump scares.
Bagel delivery! What? I didn't order it.
Nobody likes elongated limbs, alright? We've all seen Legion. Crawling through an air duct while a long-armed motherfucker tries to snatch you, and sneaking through a kitchen where Nico Cotto Avocado and Orlin Home are preparing their next mukbang of human children are two activities I do not look forward to on my all-expenses-paid cruise through the Nile. All in all, this prolonged game of hide-and-seek is the closest thing you'll find to an interactive Tim Burton experience, and though slightly hindered by its abhorrent load times, it beautifully reflects a child's perspective on navigating the frightening and intimidating adult world. Little Nightmares 2 ups the ante by doubling the runtime of its predecessor, just like Year of Levin has been upping the ante of discrimination and oppression in Western Asia with the 2023 Israeli judicial reform. In a world where a mysterious signal tower emits a hypnotizing static noise that mutilates a viewer's face upon exposure, a young paper beggar by the name of Mono, not to be confused with the kissing disease, enlists the help of an old friend to survive even more grotesque abominations from Germo Del Tinky's Twisted Cranium. Original character, do not steal. First is the Hunter, a psychotic woodsman who plans to endanger your species, the same way the Democratic Republic of Congo plans to endanger the taxonomic order of primates by eating every fucking species of monkey they can get their hands on. Next is the Teacher, the frog-eating, canopic jar-collecting, cunt-serving mother of Daddy Longneck.
I'm so fucking scared right now, you shut up!
Who, along with the help of our school's porcelain students, will try to eat your ass alive and not in the fun way. And lastly, the Doctor, who, like my girlfriend when I don't give her enough attention, crawls around on the ceiling and enlists the help of Silent Hill's medical staff to feast upon my organs.
Dr. Hahn, I am a surgeon!
This game's visuals marginalize the first game, incorporating a more dynamic color palette that highlights the game's eerie imagery to service its surreal atmosphere and underlying themes of escapism and technological dependence. with puzzles that rely on trust and cooperation to make the foreshadowed plot twist that much more poignant. The sequel made strides to expand the intricate and unnerving lore of this franchise, but I think I speak for everyone when I say give us more! Tarsier released a statement a few years ago stating that they had left this project behind to pursue new IPs. IPs in your mom's? Aw, nah, who wrote this? And have since teased us with a 6-second clip of a tentacle goblin perched atop a mysterious shed. But their publisher, Bandai Namco, has expressed interest in continuing the series, referring to it as a headline IP. IPs, and to add fuel to the speculation fire, it is rumored that Henry Selick, director of animated fantasy classics like The Nightmare Before Christmas and James and the Giant Peach, signed on to direct a TV adaptation produced by the Russo brothers. What the fuck? One of these projects is bound to be good, but I'm secretly hoping that it's all three of them. So there we have it, 9 indie side-scroller reviews in the bag. The grab bag, thanks for watching. Games like these weren't always possible. In the 80s and 90s, large studios dominated the market, squeezing the heads of small creators and forcing them to homogenize creatively by assimilating into a larger corporation with fixed marketing goals and airtight restrictions. Limitations that stifled the ideas of the individual in favor of maximizing net revenue. Luckily, we live in an era where the platform to create is a lot more accessible, allowing people of different cultures and walks of life to tell their story and spread a powerful message that truly resonates with the world.
Oh, you're into pronouns, huh? Well, let me shit him titty.
Of course, that doesn't make it any easier. Hell, it took me years to find the motivation to pursue this idea.
I suck his dick with a smile for hours at a time.
Stare at his nutsack while I hold back my cum tonight.
And with the way YouTube ads refuses to let me promote my content because I keep making gay furry femboy and dom mommy pegging jokes, it'll probably be centuries before I can support myself financially from it. I guess the theological question that I'm trying to pose with this video is why? Why are you playing Gotham Knights when you could be playing Knights of the Old Republic? Why are you listening to Sam Smith when you could be listening to the Smith Street Band? Why are you watching Goodfellas when you could be watching Bart Smellas? Life is too short, so if there's one thing to take away from this video, it's that you have the power to create, and you better fucking use it. Oh, and there's one more indie game I almost forgot about. Among Us is a turn-based